Hey, what's going on, guys? Today, we're going to be going over the Week 3 NFL games, who I think will win, and at the end, an update to the power ranking. This on another episode of... So to start out the week, we got the Thursday night football game between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And, oh lord, this is going to end poorly for Miami because it's in Buffalo. And the Buffalo Bills are coming off two great wins. First, they had a shootout that they won with the Ravens. And then they blew out the Jets. James Cook finally had himself a game with 2 touchdowns. The Jets fell apart and the Bills moved on. The Dolphins, on the other hand, lost a close game to the Patriots, but their trend continues. At least Devon Achane had a good game this week. So with that being said, I'm going to pick the Bills to win here. Moving on to Sunday, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Cleveland Browns. And this is an easy pick. The Packers are going to win. Micah Parsons and that Packers defense looks amazing. Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft have an amazing connection going on. They proved that last week against the Commanders. The Browns fell to the Ravens in Week 2, and I don't think there's much hope for them in winning Week 3. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans. And at home, Tennessee looked decently good against the Rams for a little bit in that game. The Rams did eventually blow them out, but for a while, the Titans kept the game close. Their defense plays tough. They're a scrappy little team this year. Of course, the Colts right now, they're on a bit of a tear. Daniel Jones asserting his will over the Broncos defense, which was very good last year and looked decently good against the Titans Week 1. So, what do I expect here? Well, I'm going to pick the Colts to win. I just think it's the hot hand right now. Daniel Jones looks good. The Colts team as a whole looks good. And unfortunately for the Titans, I just don't think they'll come close to winning this. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Minnesota Vikings. And this might be the hardest game to actually pick heading into this week. The Bengals, they'll be starting unless they get someone new in the building. Jake Browning at quarterback. Joe Burrow is gone, again with an injury because the Bengals can't figure out how to protect him. And on the other side of the ball, J.J. McCarthy's gone and Carson Wentz will be starting, which this game could be game of the week just for how insanely weird it'll be. I think the Bengals will win. They're my pick. They got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. They got the better offensive weapons, but I wouldn't put it past Carson Wentz and the Vikings to somehow pull out a win here. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers going up to New England to take on the Patriots. And I think the Steelers bounce back and take a win this week, but oh my goodness, Pittsburgh, how do you lose because of a randomly terrible decision made by Caleb Johnson on a kick return? That is literally the worst way to lose a football game because it really has nothing to do with the quality of the team overall. Pittsburgh could have actually beat the Seahawks without that mistake happening, and unfortunately for them, it happened. On the other side of the ball, the Patriots won Week 2 against the Dolphins in a close game. So they ain't exactly looking the best yet. They're getting there. They're getting better slowly. But I'm going to give it to Pittsburgh. Their defense and Aaron Rodgers should be enough to win. Next up, we got the LA Rams heading to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Well, last week, the Eagles had a close game with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, it wasn't as close as it looks on the scoreboard, but it was still pretty close. The Chiefs, thankfully, on offense were still terrible, so the Eagles got out of there with a win. That being said, winning 20-17 against a team with literally no offense is a little concerning, but a win is a win for the Eagles. On the other side of this, we got the LA Rams, who blew out Tennessee 33-19. Now, the Rams, they looked really good Week 2. Their offense woke up Blake Corum got good amount of rushing yards. Kyron Williams got a good amount of rushing yards. Devontae Adams and Puka combined for over 200 yards of total offense. It was a great week to be a Rams fan. On defense, their defensive pass rush is lighting it up. Cam Ward and CJ Stroud both learned this already, so it is going to be an epic one in Philly. Honestly, this one's hard to pick. Partially because I'm a little biased, but also because these two teams match up pretty well. I'm going to go with my Rams here, but that's more so biased than having 100% confidence. It could go either way. Next up, we got the New York Jets heading to Tampa to play the Buccaneers, and I'm going to give it to Tampa. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs looked great against the Texans, pulled out the win in a very close Monday Night Football game, and unlike their counterparts, the Jets, they have looked impressive both weeks so far this season. The Jets, on the other hand, lost in embarrassing fashion against Buffalo in a game I'm sure many a Jets fan will want to forget. So it's kind of hard to judge where they are as a team, especially considering they did so well week one. So the more consistent team gets the vote here for me, and that is the Buccaneers. Next up, we got the Vegas Raiders heading to play the Washington Commanders at home. And I'm going to go with Washington. I think they bounce back here from their loss to Green Bay. Jaden Daniels and that offense should recover. We got to see what happens with Austin Eckler's injury, who takes his place, how good are they compared to him. But I think the Commanders rebound. I also have no faith in Geno Smith as the Raiders quarterback. That game against the Chargers was ugly. 3 interceptions is never how you want your quarterback to play. And if he keeps this up, I can't imagine he'll be a starter for much longer. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons heading in to play the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are a scrappy team this year. They actually almost came back to beat the Cardinals. And if you ignore week one and just look at week two, they got some stuff going for them. Ted McMillan is looking great, had 100 receiving yards against the Cardinals. However, I don't think they're ready to beat the Falcons, and I'll give the Falcons the win here. The Atlanta Falcons defense and offense looks great. They blew out the Minnesota Vikings like they were nothing. And even when they lost in week one, it was a close game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next up, we got the Houston Texans heading to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. And here I got to give it to the Jaguars. The Texans have sort of stalled early in this season. CJ Stroud is sort of remaining in that sophomore slump level of play. The run game hasn't been as good without Joe Mixon. Their pass game has been inconsistent at best. Their defense is the one highlight. I will say it is a highlight. They've played very well so far this year against the Rams and Buccaneers, but their defense can only do so much. On the other side of the ball, the Jaguars blew out the Panthers and then took the Bengals to the limit. Yes, they did lose, but that was a weird game with Joe Burrow's injury. They probably should have won, but they put up a good game. And I have faith in the Jaguars, so they'll get the win here in my opinion. Next up, we've got the Denver Broncos heading to play the LA Chargers. And the Broncos, they blew it against the Indianapolis Colts. And it's hard to judge how good they are because they struggled against the Titans on offense and their defense struggled in game 2. So it's hard to say how good the Broncos are. On the other side of things, the Chargers have looked amazing this year. So I got to give it to the Chargers. Their offenses looked amazing. Their defenses looked tough. They'll get the win. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And New Orleans here, they're just continuing to be exactly what I thought they would this year. A team that can put up a fight, but will, no matter who they're going up against, fall in the end. And now they're going up against the Seattle Seahawks at home. It's going to be bad. Alvin Kamara is probably the only good part of that offense. That defense doesn't look especially great. It's not going to end well for the poor New Orleans Saints this time, especially since the Seahawks in week 2 against the Steelers figured out how their offense works. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears have struggled so far. They lost a close game to Minnesota, and they got blew out by the Lions. Now, the Bears, I kind of want to pick them to win this. I still feel like they're a scrappy team. I still feel like they can get wins like this, especially against a team like Dallas, which has also been very inconsistent so far. The Cowboys have beaten the Giants in overtime, but they also lost to the Eagles. So, who am I picking here? I'm going to go with the Bears. I say the Bears make a comeback and win in week 3. Next up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals traveling to play the San Francisco 49ers, who are running Mac Jones at quarterback. And the Niners beat the Saints. Good job, Niners. Mac Jones, congratulations. However, I'm going to pick the Cardinals here. They're a healthier team. They should get the win unless something crazy happens. Next up, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 0-2. Congratulations. Against the New York Giants, who are also 0-2. But Sunday Night Football, who made this a game? Honestly, it's better than it. I'm looking at this game more positively than I did before the season. The Giants might actually win, and that's a terrifying statement to make. Russell Wilson balled out in week 2, almost beat the Cowboys, but unfortunately they fell in overtime. The Chiefs lost a close game to Philly, and they're still struggling at the receiver position. So, who do I say I'm going to win? Give me Russell Wilson and the Giants to upset the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Why? Well, because 1, they're at home, and 2, because I just can't tell if that Chiefs offense is actually good this year. And to finish out the week, we got the Lions playing the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. Oh my goodness. This is a great way to end the week. And I'm glad there's only one Monday Night Football game because that other one was insane. Now, the Lions, they blew out the Bears. They also got blew out by the Packers, so it's kind of hard to judge where they are truly in the grand scheme of things. The Ravens lost a close game to the Bills, and then they blew out their division opponent in Cleveland. My pick here, I'm going to go with the Ravens. The Ravens have that weird stat where they're really good against NFC teams. I don't see why that changes now. I think it'll be a good game, but that Ravens defense, along with their electric offense, should be enough to bully Detroit out of this game. So with that being said, guys, please like, share, subscribe down below, comment what you think, and I'll see you next time.